Hey there, it's professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is a special Psyched Up video. It's Thursday, September 8th. For those of you who follow me regularly, you know I'm taking a bit of a break from my daily and my weekly Psyched Up Sunday videos. This is because I'm moving through one of the biggest transformations in my life right now. I'm a single mom of 6 children. The babies, quote unquote, Jaden, who will be 25 on Sunday, and Rafe, who's 19. Both have been living with me, and they are moving out together into their own apartment this coming Tuesday. My oldest daughter's 36, so I have been raising children for over 3.5 decades, and I'm about to transition into living alone. I'm excited about the transformation, but also know that I'm going to have all kinds of feels come up around it. So I'm giving myself the grace and the space to move through this major life transformation. So that's why you haven't been seeing my dailies or my weekly. But when I was out for a walk this evening, I got very clear guidance to do a special video focused on the upcoming full moon and Mercury retrograde. So that's what I'm doing. So I have pulled up here the chart for the full moon, and this is Austin, Texas time. I have that the moon will be full at 17 degrees and 41 seconds of Pisces this Saturday morning at 4:59 a.m. Austin, Texas time. Full moons are when the moon is directly across from the sun. So the sun's been moving through Virgo. So the sun will be at 17 degrees and 41 minutes. Moon will be across the skies here. The day before, tomorrow on the 9th, we have Mercury turning retrograde. So Mercury turns retrograde at 10:38 p.m. Austin, Texas time tomorrow on the 8th, on the 9th. And it'll be retrograde at 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Now, this is the time it is when it goes retrograde, it'll still be at that exact same place during the full moon. So when planets station to turn direct or retrograde is when we feel their potency the most. Transits of all kinds can be felt ahead of time as well as after the fact. And I have been feeling this Mercury retrograde for a couple of weeks already. We've been in the shadow zone for the last several weeks, so you may also feel that Mercury has also been retrograde. It is classic for glitches in with your phones, with your computers, with your cars, in short-term travel, delays, miscommunications of all kinds. Mercury is the ruler of the third house in astrology, which is the house of communications of all kinds, social media, networking, connections of all kinds. When Mercury goes retrograde, it gets a bad rap, but it is really an opportunity to review, reflect, reconsider, rest, take extra time when it comes to putting together your thoughts and communicate. Make sure you sent that text, make sure you sent that email. Did you respond? Did the person understand you? Slow down and make sure you've done things, make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. So it starts retrograde in Libra. So anybody who has planets or points in this first decan of Libra is going to feel this Mercury retrograde more personally. Like I said, I've been feeling it for a couple of weeks. My rising sign is at 0 degrees of Libra. So I've already been feeling this. So Mercury will retrograde back to 25 degrees. Let's see, is that right? Let me look. 24 degrees and 13 minutes of Virgo. So if you have any planets or points in this range from 8 degrees of Libra back to 25, or actually 9, since it's almost at 9 here, and back to 25 degrees, and give yourself a couple degrees on either side. So if you have planets or points in this range, you're really going to be feeling this Mercury retrograde extra powerful. Also, if you have planets or points across the skies here from these same degrees of Aries through Pisces, you will also be feeling it because you will be feeling an opposition to this Mercury retrograde. So like slow down, just take your time, because not only is Mercury retrograde right now, all the outer planets are retrograde. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all retrograde, as is Chiron. So all these retrograde planets, it's a wonderful opportunity to go within. It's a great time to do therapy, to write in your journal, just to reflect on your life, to reconsider things in lots of different ways. Take your time is the main thing I want to say. Don't rush. It's not a time to initiate and start new things unless you've already been making plans. Like my boys made these plans to move out 2 months ago. They signed the lease a while back, so they've already signed their lease. They're going to be moving forward during Mercury retrograde. I just want them to be careful when they're out there with the U-Haul moving their stuff. So it's not that you can't have travel. It's not a good time to sign documents, I'll say that. And so it's a great time for self-reflection, like I said, to revisit, to go back on conversations you've had with others. In fact, it's really, really common for people from your past to show up when Mercury goes retrograde, particularly because Mercury's in Libra, which is one of the signs of relationships. It's also about justice and fairness. Libra's the scales. We go back and forth. So people may reconsider the relationships they're in during this Mercury retrograde. It's not necessarily a time that relationships will end, although they can. Of course, relationships can begin or end at any point. It is very common for people from your past or past lives to resurface during Mercury retrograde. Also Venus retrograde and Mars retrograde, but Mercury retrograde in particular. So if you hear from an ex out of the blue, do not be surprised. But it's nothing to fear. It is an opportunity to just slow down and be more thoughtful and careful in terms of how you take action, how you move forward. Also, legal things become highlighted. And then when Mercury will go back into Virgo, the focus is on health, getting things organized, details, that kind of thing. So it's a great time to like clean out your house. And I mean, I'll be totally rearranging my whole house once the boys are out. So, so that's what I have to say about the Mercury retrograde. Now, this chart that I've drawn up is for the full moon. So like I said, the full moon will be exact at 4:59 a.m. on Saturday the 10th. So Friday night late, Saturday morning early. The moon already looks full out there tonight, I noticed. So it's super powerful. Full moons are always powerful, right? So they're culminations, they're things coming to conclusion. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So a full moon in Pisces is lots of things coming to an end, the end of an era, the end of a phase of something, the end of a long, for me, it's the end of a long phase of child rearing is coming in conjunction with this full moon. Also interesting is that the moon will be full. Of course, the moon keeps on chugging along. It moves pretty quickly. It usually takes 2.5 days to move through a sign. After the moon is full, it's already going to be conjunct Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. And Neptune is our psychic radar. Pisces is the slippery fish, right? It's two different fish. On one end, on high end, same thing with Neptune. On the high end, it's spiritual, it's psychic, it's about music and creativity. On the downside, Pisces can be about illusion, delusion, addiction, being caught up in negative, fuzzy thinking and not being able to see clearly. Full moons illuminate, however. So this, again, can be things coming to a conclusion, things coming to an end, time to let go of things, release things. This is a great time to release addictive patterns, to see the light when it comes to how you're deluding yourself, to wake up in lots of ways, have some really fabulous psychic and spiritual downloads. Great time to meditate, just be quiet, Be open to receive downloads from spirit, which should be coming in super powerfully. Also conjunct the full moon will be the asteroid Juno, which is in astrology the quote unquote good wife. So again, it highlights committed relationships or what you want for committed relationships. The moon will move over Juno before it gets full, but it'll still be conjunct Juno as it's full. So you may also have some illuminations around what you want in partnership, illuminations around your partner if you're in a partnership. So there could be some insights coming around commitments and committed relationships. There also could be wonderful downloads if you're a writer, a musician, an artist. This can be just such a really powerful creative time. So also factoring into this full moon, besides the sun that's opposite, creating the opposition across the skies, Uranus, the great awakener, which has been activated for a while with the North Node conjunct it, is sextiling this full moon. So Uranus is sudden unexpected things. It's the great awakener. It brings electrical energy from on high into this situation. So a sextile is a positive relationship. So this can be a full moon that wakes you up to something. There can be sudden, unexpected psychic spiritual reveals, sudden, unexpected realizations around creativity, around music, around what you're doing with your life. Exactly. Because again, this is the last sign of the zodiac. This is how we wrap things up before we kick off into Aries. So, and then also we have the South Node here at 14 degrees of Scorpio. It is trining this full moon and sextiling the sun. Of course, the sun is trining Uranus during this full moon. So we have this mystical, magical rectangle in the skies going on with the sextile between the moon and Uranus, the trine between Uranus and the sun, the sextile between the sun and the South Node, which is where we let go and clear out things. And again, then the trine between the South Node and the moon. So the South Node can also bring in people from our past. So again, Mercury will go retrograde right before this full moon. So there could be someone that shows up that you have known before, or again, a revisit from someone in your past. If so, they're bringing some sort of spiritual lesson, some sort of clarity around releasing or what we need to open up to. North Node is our collective destiny. It's in the picture here too, as it's also sextiling this full moon. So there's a powerful, powerful energy here with this full moon, more potent than usual. And I'm just feeling this so strongly. I guess that's why I felt like I needed to do this video, to put this out there, to just reap the benefits of this. I feel like this full moon is going to be bringing in gifts, particularly gifts from spirit, insights, ahas, realizations, downloads, dreams. My dreams have been super vivid already over the last couple of days. I have a lot of activity in my dreams on a regular basis. In fact, it was in my dreams that I first knew I was psychic as a child, having dreams about something before it happened. It'd be interesting now to go back and track when I had those dreams. Chances are I had them around full moons. Wasn't aware of, wasn't paying attention to the moon back then, but that's where my psychic abilities first started showing up for me, was in my dreams. There's a couple other really beautiful aspects going on besides the sextiles and the trines and this mystic rectangle here. We have another beautiful trine between the moon and Black Lilith here at 16 degrees of Cancer and the South Node. So the Black Lilith represents our deep-seated fears. And I like to say that fears are false evidence appearing real. The South Node, again, is where we're clearing out things, where we're releasing things, where we're letting karmic patterns go, deep-seated karmic patterns here in Scorpio, like patterns we've held over many, many lifetimes. So here with this beautiful trine, again, trines are lovely positive energy between the moon and the fears that we may be carrying and letting them go. Like we may be able to grab some courage, have some insights in how we can move forward in our lives without letting fears get in our way, right? Being able to see some where we've stood on our way, what obstacles have been there. And again, some of these obstacles may be internal. Pisces can be very internal. A lot of times Pisces makes us want to stick to ourselves. It's the ruler of the 12th house in an astrological wheel, which is the hidden, the unconscious, the subconscious. So again, there can be activations that we don't even know that get stirred up. And we may see these played out over the next week, weeks to come. Again, we can feel these powerful transits afterwards. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that Mars is in its shadow zone, meaning that it will be turning retrograde on October 30th. And it turns retrograde at 25 degrees of Gemini, 25 degrees and 37 minutes. It goes retrograde on October 30th, and it will be retrograde until January 12th, where it will go back to 8 degrees and 8 minutes of Gemini. So Mars in Gemini, right now it's still trekking forward, but just like how Mercury, we can feel the shadow, we can start seeing what Mercury retrograde is going to be showing us and teaching us what it's going to be revealing. Mars is doing that now as well. It's revealing what we're going to be learning during the Mars retrograde. So Mars is the planet of taking action, how we put energy into things. It's our ego. It's also the god of war. It's where we can get triggered. Mars in Gemini, Gemini is the twins. It's lots of choices. When Mars moves into Gemini, we can have like two different choices. We can go this way or that way, maybe this, maybe that. It can make a lot, people who have Mars in Gemini in their birth charts can sometimes find it difficult to know which direction to move and be sometimes up in your head about making choices and moving forward because Mercury rules Gemini. So again, since Mercury is the ruler of Mars, even though Mars is still moving forward, Mercury is turning retrograde. And right now, Mars and Mercury are in a trine. They're 3 degrees off, or they will be on the full moon. So we're also feeling this tug of war between these two energies as well. Mars in Gemini, lots of choices. Again, Gemini is social media, is communication. It's the 3rd house. All the things that Mercury represents are here in the Gemini. So Mars in Gemini is an activation in all communications. It's a great time to write your book. It's a great time to launch something on social media, to get there more active out there in any kind of media or advertising or communications of all kinds. So Mars, I said, will go up to 25 degrees and 37 minutes. So we're already feeling it. So pay attention between now and the end of October, what comes up in terms of what kind of choices are presented in your life, right? So we start getting the preview of coming attractions when a planet is moving through its shadow. And again, this retrograde period is pretty long. Mars will be staying in Gemini until March 26th is when it moves into Cancer, because it'll go from 25 degrees back down to 8 degrees, and then it'll turn around and move forward again. So it's really working out this part of your chart. So wherever you have Gemini in your chart, you're going to be feeling this extra strong. Also, Mars is the ruler of Aries. So Aries will feel this retrograde particularly strongly, as will those people who have Gemini in your chart. So just wanted to give you a heads up to start paying attention to anything you might be seeing in terms of how you take action in your life, how you move your physical body, what you're learning about your ego. And again, Retrograde planets can bring in past life people, issues from the past to be resolved. So, with all these planets retrograde, like I said before, it's a great time to just move through space slowly. Don't expect sudden results about anything. Uranus, however, is activated, so it can bring in something out of the blue. Its code name is sudden unexpected. We can never predict how Uranus can play into a situation, but with sextiles and trines, it usually brings in something positive in an unexpected way. When it's got a square or an opposition or quincunx, it can bring in something not so positive. So this is a positive activation of Uranus in this full moon. We still have Pluto out here in Capricorn, raising its ugly head, bringing up issues of power and control issues. Pluto is about power and control. In Capricorn, Capricorn is an earth sign. It's the good old boys network. It's the way we've done things forever. So a lot of people are experiencing power and control. We're definitely seeing it out in the political realm in our country here in America. We're feeling it on a personal level, depending on where you have Pluto in. This is the transiting Pluto here. Wherever you have it in your birth chart in Capricorn, it has been transforming that area of your life. I have Pluto in my fourth house. What is being transformed in my life? My home. Fourth house is home. What's going on? My babies are moving out of my home. So I'm giving away my power and control, letting my kids be that. A lot of change and transformation happening in my home. That's what's going on for me with Pluto in my fourth house. It's just an example of how that can show up. Again, full moons are about release, culminations, bringing things to a close. I think it's very interesting that Queen Elizabeth passed away today in the wake of this Mercury retrograde and this full moon. Again, it's the end of a long era that she's been having, right? So again, we feel transits ahead of time. This Pisces full moon is a wrap up of her long, long, beautiful reign. So shout out to Queen Elizabeth there on the other side. I know she's happy to be reunited with her hubby and other loved ones that are on the other side. Let's see, Venus is now in Virgo. So Venus in Virgo, Venus is in its fall in Virgo. It's not really comfortable here, but it is a time where we can get organized. Again, the Virgo energies of getting organized, scrutinizing things. Be careful. Also with the sun here highlights the same things. It's a great time to focus on your health, make changes in your diet. Again, like getting things organized, cleaning out the clutter in your life. One of the downsides of Virgo is perfectionism. It's attention to detail. So to an extreme, it can be too perfectionistic. We can be too hard on ourselves. We can be hard on our loved ones with Venus and Virgo. So watch out for that tendency. Try to give yourself lots of grace right now to move through this Mercury retrograde, the upcoming Mars retrograde, this beautiful full moon in Pisces. Enjoy. Take care of yourselves. I'm still available for private sessions if you want to contact me for private readings. I'm still doing those during this break. I'll probably take a break for at least through this week, maybe into next week. I'm just feeling it out. I'm giving myself the space to feel my feelings after the boys move out next week. I may be up and running again by the following Sunday, the 18th. We'll see. If I get guided to put out another special video, I will, because I follow my guidance in all things. So blessings to everyone. Enjoy this beautiful full moon. Let me know if you get any really spiritual, psychic revelations, reveals. I'd love to hear about it. And thank you to those of you who have sent me special messages. I even got some really lovely donations from several of you supporting me. Really, really love my clients, my friends, those of you that are following me. Please subscribe to this channel. I will be back soon. Like it, Share it with your friends. Let me know what I can do for you in private session. I'll put the way to contact me below this video. Blessings and peace.